What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Litecoin today, LTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. It's the 22nd day of March. Here we are at about $54 with roughly 7 hours and 50 minutes left in this day, in this week. We've seen a bit of a spill over from our higher prices of $120 to $90, this area here, and all the way down to 54. But we are in an area where historically we have consistently found support or resistance back here, an area of significance nonetheless down in this area. It's not a positive thing that we've broken out from the downside here, but if we zoom out, we look at this on a monthly time frame, you still are respecting, at the very least, these, oh, come on, man. I had it. These macro lows here, which is nice. That's your structure is still being upheld from the bear market lows in 2018. So that's at least something there. We did break out of this, but we look at LTC USD here on Coinbase. We really didn't break out with that much volume. And we are on a macro scale, in a macro sense, in fake out territory. I mean, we could really V-shape recover and see some fantastic price action come into play. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if before the end of Q2, we saw prices that were back at or above $100. I certainly do expect some type of retracement from here to take place, though. I mean, we look at this from this relative high here to the relative low. The golden ratio itself would be at about $89 to $96. We're at $54 now, let alone if we see any deeper retracements or extensions. Bitcoin's in a bear market, probably. The rest of crypto is not really vivacious at this point in time. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get to higher highs. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a lower high, and that even if we had lower to go, we might have like a higher low to go. I wouldn't like to see a lower low than this, though, because again, you've got this structure dating back to 2018 that as long as we're above this low, as long as we're above this line, it's still holding. I don't want to know what happens after breaking through this. Again, I'm not really that big on these kind of trend lines. I don't really care. But whenever it's on a macro scale like this, I think that has a lot more weight, a lot more significance, okay? And this is why, again, these kind of trend lines here, you broke out without really that much volume. I wouldn't be surprised if we ripped back through it. This is the best time to buy, probably not the best time to sell. Anyways, let's look at the short-term stuff, and then we'll zoom back out. Looking at the 1 hour time frame here, dropping down with a little bit of volume to end the day yesterday, as well as, a lot of cryptos did the same thing here. 1 hour time frame on the RSI. I wouldn't call that a double bottom. You definitely look bearish on the RSI. You're here at this point where you've got lower highs here. I didn't draw the shaded line, but you can kind of see the trajectory that I'm going for, more or less. Maybe we broke it out of this. Let's just see. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I would think that we're at a point where we find resistance right around the 40. And here we probably come down. We'll look to find support at a higher low in the RSI and probably a lower low in the price. As we're moving down here, volume is dying off. That gives me the impression that we will be moving up here going into next week. And that's the same thought that I've had with various cryptos that we've done analysis on today and this week as well. Looking at the 4 hour time frame, we are oversold, at least on the RSI. Put a circle here, circle, circle, dot, dot. Since the beginning of February, choosing the beginning of February because that's whenever we really began this consolidation phase here. Here we were oversold or right at it. That was a low point. Same thing here. Low point, we did go lower, but still relative low point there every single time that we've been oversold. Even when we got close to the oversold zone here, you're at a low point. Same thing here. You're at technically a relative low point, but you kept moving down. Now we're oversold. I don't think we have much further to go. I certainly don't think that we're breaking out right now. The volume doesn't represent that. It could happen, but I don't think so. Low here to the high, a little bit lower, maybe down to 53.37. We're at 54, so really not that much. Down to 52.75, somewhere in that range, 53.37, 52.75. Find support at the golden ratio zone. And then from there, we'll move up. And I do suspect that when we move up, we will be breaking through this area. and we will commence that move. That overall will take us, 75, 105, whatever, somewhere in there, maybe a little bit higher. Stochastics are reset. We're oversold. I doubt we have too much lower to go. And the MACD is showing bullish divergence as well on the 4-hour time frame. The daily time frame, the RSI, looks a lot like various other cryptos where we're finding resistance around the overbought zone. We found resistance here before. A pretty neutral posturing overall right now. I'm not a fan of the fact that you broke out of this uptrend, but whatever. Sometimes that happens and you're okay still. Sometimes it happens and you're not, but we'll see. I think that if we move up and reject the 60, we're probably in trouble. If we move up and we get a double top, we're probably in trouble. But if we can move up and get into that overbought zone, that would likely represent this move that I'm talking about to about $80 to $110, something like that, 75, 105, whatever it is. The stochastics do look bearish on the daily time frame, but they're weird too. They're really weird. The price action's neutral and sideways, so the stochastics aren't going to be as reliable. But typically in this situation, I would expect that we bounce off the oversold zone. We do have a bit of a higher low dynamic there. So we could go down a little bit, just a little bit over the next couple of days. The MACD is right at the 0. But again, I'm not getting really rejection vibes here. It doesn't seem aggressive. It seems like this movement down, I mean, we're losing volume, not gaining it. It doesn't seem aggressive. I think you're getting set up to cross above the 0, and that is a very positive signal in itself. What I will say, and it does have me a little bit concerned for Litecoin, is you've been green. You've been very green for quite a while. And it's not that you can't be green twice as long as this, 3 times as long as this. There's no rules against it. It's just, I mean, when do we see a stint really last much longer than this? So I'm assuming if this move up is going to happen, it's going to happen soon by the end of this month. If not, maybe we do see some lower price action going into the end of the month to start off April. We get a little bit of red. And then we can try again later. I certainly don't expect that we're going to break below this line because, again, if we do, I mean, that's serious structure. We can have a whole discussion there if that happens. But I think it'd be positive for Litecoin to make this movement up sooner than later. And even if you're not all the way up at $85 to $100, at least something that's separate from the zone so that when you do inevitably cross red here, when you do inevitably get to these more bearish readings, you're from a higher price so you have a little bit more wiggle room to pull back from. I don't have anything else. I don't want to sound dramatic, but you kind of do have some crunch time here. And in that crunch time, you don't want to do this. You definitely want to do this. You don't even want to do this. You really need to do this. It doesn't have to go all the way up to these target areas that we have. It can be halfway there, but something that provides separation here. You need that, okay? If not, we might witness the death of a great one, but I don't think that's happening. That's not my call, not at the moment. We'll go from there if that happens. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Take care. Bye-bye.